You are welcome. I think that should be Mommy Gio here. Let me know who is here. Can just drop anything in the chat box. CIT305. I've been busy with 100 level students before now. So this is our turn. Let's have it. You give me a few minutes. I'm trying to download the past questions we use. Okay, I think I'm all set now. I just need to do this. 1, 2, 2024, 2, 2024, 1, 2025, 1, 2020. Okay, still one more. 2021, 1. Okay, so I'll share my screen now. We can start. I think one person is there. Okay. Good evening, Mommy Gio. You're welcome. We really see the need to read because we are now entering POP. It's no longer a joke. It's no longer guesswork now. It's what you know, you write down. So let me share my screen and we will start the reading as soon as possible. So once you can see my screen, you let me know. As usual, we'll start with analyzing past questions. Don't forget the method of reading for POP. You analyze past questions, and when you analyze past questions, you start from past questions to see if there are major or certain areas which you need to dwell on, so that you don't just start reading everything in the material. You know where to dwell on. So for this course, CIT305, which is networking and communication technology, we'll be analyzing tonight. Before we start reading anything at all from the material, we are going to analyze the past question of 2024 second semester, which is this I'm on now. We'll analyze 2024 first semester, which is this I'm on now, and we'll analyze 2025 first semester, which is last year June or so. And the last note to analyze 2021 first semester. If we're actually going to have a repeated question, the tendency will fall within these ones we are using. So we hope to be lucky if they will repeat any question this semester. So please, before we start the analysis, I want to know if you guys can see the screen very well. Okay, Mojo is confirming that already, thank God. I don't know who the second person is, but if you can try to chat in the chat box so that we will know who you are. Now let's go to analysis. Very important. Always learn to do this even when you are reading alone for POP. Make sure you start from past question. Analyze the past question yourself. What do you see? Is there any trend you notice that will lead you to topics that you feel like they are confirmed that those topics will come out? Then start from those topics, chew them, understand them before you move to other topics in the material. Now let's start from 2024 second semester. Question 1 says the instruction for 2024 second semester is answer question 1 and any other 3 questions. For 2024 1, which is first semester, the instruction is still the same. which means in this course, you are meant to answer 4 questions and they will make question 1 compulsory. In 2025, which is a very recent one, first semester, answer question 1 and any 3 questions. While in 2021, first semester, as of then, which is a very long time ago, they are meant to answer 5 questions with question 1 very compulsory, which means we should move to recent times. The mode of questioning has changed from 5 questions to 4 questions, but something is constant. Question 1 is compulsory. So let's start from 2024. Okay, let's arrange them in an orderly manner. So let's start from 2025 first semester, which is the most recent. Question 1 is what we dwell on tonight. We'll analyze the question 1 in each of them. Then we'll go to the part of the material, if it's module 1 or module 2 or module 3, that they set question 1 from, and we'll start our reading from there. So in 2025 first semester, question 1A says, I think we can make this a little bit bigger so that you guys can see it better. Can I make it bigger than this? Okay, I think we nailed it. This is better. This is better. It should show better now and bigger for those that are using phones. Fine. Okay, so let's move on with our analysis of 2025 first semester. Question 1 says, you have just been invited to an organization that needs to set up a network to enable its employees communicate effectively, and you are required to recommend the key steps you would adopt to ensure the effective planning and design of the network. 1. List the key steps you will consider in order to ensure the effective planning and design of the network. This is a practical question. That is why if you are cramming in POP, you are reading for exam for POP and you are cramming, you are doing yourself. This is a practical question. Then the second part of it says, give a brief explanation of the network planning and design methodology. This is the main thing they are trying to focus on here. There is a part of the material that talks about network planning and design methodology. Question 1 AI is only trying to assess your understanding of the part of the material that talks about network planning and design methodology, which means the reason why you learn network planning and design methodology from the material is for you to be able to perform this type of function in case you meet one in the real world. Okay. Question 1B says, name and briefly describe the roles of the 3 core protocols for the IPv4 internet layer. The V4 internet layer. We are going to, under networking, you talk about so many things like topology, arrangement of, there's so many things I'm just going to talk about in networking. I've done a course before with this CIT, Scholars International something University, under networking. The course was purely networking, computer networking, and you will see so many things. One of the core part of that networking is learning topology. That's the arrangement, the look, the way you arrange the nodes. Nodes are the items that partake in the, don't worry, I think we'll see all of that in the material. Okay, so 1B says, name and briefly describe the roles of 3 core protocols for the IPv4 internet layer. And 1C says enumerate the 3 common forms of impairment within the context of networking and communication technology. Now, one thing we've seen from this question 1 of 2025 for semester is that they dwell on planning and methodology. So what we now do as someone that wants to read for exam, not knowing where they will form this semester's questions from, is for me to go to my material, and where is network planning discussed? Okay, I can do this. This is where scanning the material will start. And what am I scanning? I will go to the content page of this material and see where the material talks about. I'm not sure this is the correct material because this is the one that is overlaid. This is the one that is overlaid with. We have 2 materials for this course. Please, let's be careful. This one is saying improved version, but this improved version is one with, inconsistent wording. So I think I will use the other version. Let's go to that other version. I have another CIT305 here. If this one is not having inconsistent wording, and I think this will be the corrected one, then okay, it's like the word is here aligns properly. Fine. So we can dwell on this one. It's still the same heading. Fine. So let's get off that Mr. Inconsistent wherever it is. So after checking 2025 first semester, I noticed a trend in question 1, network planning and network methodology. Where did they talk about that in the material? In module 1, unit 1. Module 1 entirely is talking about networking, introduction to networking, data links, deploying physical media, network protocols. Network protocols is one thing that I think I will need in answering question 1 of 2025 one, but let's not conclude yet. Network design was discussed in module 2, which means question 1 is a combination of all the experience you've gotten from module 1 and module 2 connected together, intertwined together. Network design, under that, I know I will be studying something in this material called harnessing Wi-Fi for user mobility. I may not know what it means before, but when I read this material, I should have understanding. Building internetworks using TCP and IP and routers. These are addresses and whatever. So network standards, that is IEEE 802 standards and the rest, and implementing security-based practices. Well, I think I will get, in fact, that question 1 seems to cover the 2 modules together, which means I will not be able to answer that question 1 effectively if I have not gone to module 1 and module 2 completely. So I would have exhausted module 1 and module 2 before I will be able to answer that. Okay, now that is for 2025 first semester. What about 2024 second semester? Question 1. You have just been invited to an organization that needs to set up Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Do you see it now? Can you guys see it now? They repeated question 1 exactly in 2024 second semester and 2025 second semester. We even know if okay, well, they added something to it in 2025 first semester, but 2024 second semester was repeated exactly. That is how many semesters different? That is just 1 semester difference. 2025 1, 2024 2. In fact, just last semester and this semester, that is how it is. So you can see we are still talking of the same question now, just that something was added to the question in 2025 first semester. So it's still the same thing, highlight the steps, which means this question, I should know how to answer it. I should just know how to answer it. Like, let me just know in case it will come out in my own set. If it doesn't come out well, I shall know how to answer it, because it's even a practical question. It's something that, what if you are invited as an IT guy, somebody that just finished information technology from the university, and then an office truly need your service in this regard? Won't you be able to give them quotation, give them all the things you need, talk like a professional for them to know that this one know what a router means, the number of this thing you are going to buy, the type of connectivity you will use it? No. Once you are giving them the presentation, they'll know that yes, this person know what he's doing. It's not somebody that went to download something from AI and come to present. So the same question. Now let's go to analyze 2024 first semester question 1. This is also a kind of practical question. In 2024 first semester, the question says, assuming you were invited in a workshop on networking and communication technology to enlighten the participants on how the digital subscriber line, DSL, works, what will you say? First of all, you have to explain to them what DSL means. That is why question 1A says, briefly explain DSL, digital subscriber line. Enumerate 4 features of the DSL. Mention and briefly explain 2 advantages of DSL. State any 2 disadvantages of DSL. Explain the concept. So this one is basically scanning DSL, digital subscriber line. A common trend in networking, that is 1F. A common trend in networking and communication technology is the integrated services digital network, ISDN. State and explain briefly 2 major types of access provided in the ISDN. Now, you see what they're asking? The first picture or fact we have been able to, recognize so far is that question 1 is always practical. It wants to know if I'm truly an IT person. So if this is an IT person for real, even without reading, you'll be able to answer question 1 of CIT305. That is what the reality this is trying to create for us. That question 1 will be practical, but the practical may come in any form of IT, networking knowledge. But this DSL, let's check. Where was it mentioned in the material? The digital subscriber line. Do we even have anything like that? DSL, the digital subscriber line. So if it's not in this material, then we will need to reopen the other material. Probably it is there. Where DSL is here, fine. In module 5, can you see? In 2024 second semester, I think we're not talking, no, first semester. Is it first or second? In 2024 first semester, the question 1 came out from module 5. I think Mommy Gio was here yesterday, and you found out yesterday that the question of CIT 309, question 1 is always from module 1. But look at this one now. The question is from something else. Module 5, Unit 2. That was where DSL was discussed. In any case, it means if we want to truly pass this course, we have to go through the course from module 1 to module 5 with all our hearts, and even try to practicalize it so that it becomes part of us. And that's why we're in school anyway. So let's go to the last analysis we want to do. We're only dwelling on question 1 tonight, and then we'll read a bit. So I think we'll start from this DSL. I'm interested in the way the question was carved. So we'll start our reading from module 5. We may start from ISDN and go to DSL. I don't know how we are going to come about that, but let's take the last analysis. The last analysis is 2021 first semester. That's many years ago. And this many years ago, there was no practical attempt then. It's recently that it seems they started asking question one as practical question. And that's many years ago. This one may not be somehow relevant to our time now. But question one says, state four purposes in which computer network can be employed. Briefly describe the main function of data link in OSL model. List types of physical media and applicable applicable in OSL reference model. Now, this year dwelt on module one. It dwelt on module one and some part of module two. That is what is obvious here. So without wasting time, I think we should go straight to reading. We have been able to, come up with so many realities now about what is it called? The nature of question one. The reason why we are dwelling on question one alone for the main time is that question one carries weight. It's like, first of all, the fact that it is compulsory, and secondly, because it carries the highest mark. So if the total mark is 70, if question one alone is carrying 25, which means if I'm able to answer everything in question one, I can already start feeling like a king in that exam. Okay? So, digital subscriber line. That is the first thing we should understand tonight. The full meaning of DSL. As an IT guy, you will learn to use abbreviations a lot. Our course, our field is full of abbreviations. IT guys do communicate even in slangs in abbreviation because the field is full of so many abbreviations. We don't talk in full. We just, shortcut. Everything is abbreviated. Well, tonight, let's hope that we'll be able to cover what DSL means. This digital subscriber line, what does it mean? In the real sense, we may be able to say the meaning of digital. One advantage of POP is that when you see something like this and they say define it, even if you don't know the compound word together, the meaning of the compound word, you can break it down one by one. What is digital? If you know the meaning of digital, then what is subscriber? Somebody with special access based on some form of registration to some form of, I'm just saying, using a layman understanding. And then what is line? So if I know the meaning of digital alone, and I also know the meaning of subscriber alone, even though I don't know the meaning of the compound or digital subscriber line, I should still be able to say some jargons on, since digital means this, subscriber means this, and line means this, it means digital subscriber line could be this or this or this. That is the advantage of POP. If you are not a dull person, you should be able to say something. It is in POP that all those things you learned in just 101 and 102 about word attack, using word attack to find the meaning of a word. When you are asked the meaning of a word in a sentence and you don't know the meaning of that particular word, then you use word attack, code text, another method to get the meaning of the word. So tonight we'll talk about what is DSL and maybe history. Then we'll stop there so that it will sink. We don't need to rush. And let's see, the introduction is very important. I hope Mommy Joe is still here. I think by 1:30 or 2 we should be done. And I think Mommy Joe is still here. Okay, so a DSL is a specialized and problem-oriented language. The first thing I've been able to understand now that is that DSL is a language. So, which means when I was looking at it here, digital subscriber line, I was saying, okay, what is digital? I never knew then that it was a language. But now, first thing this introduction is trying to create the first picture impression is trying to give is that DSL, digital subscriber line, is a language, but not just a language, but a problem-oriented language, which means that question that says, that talks about DSL, I think that is 2024 one, that say briefly explain DSL. From this introduction, I can briefly explain DSL. I already know that it's a problem-oriented language. So even if that is all I can recall, I may now start talking about what does it mean for a language to be problem-oriented? Why is it specialized? All those things, I will learn them when I read further. But first thing is already uh, uh, we've been able to ascertain something now, and that is a DSL is a specialized problem-oriented language. Contrary to general purpose language, GPL, I've said it earlier that this our field is full of abbreviations. So general purpose language, GPL, e.g. UML, Java, or C++, or okay, the C language. Okay, a DSL serves to accurately describe a domain of language. It serves to accurately describe a domain of language. First of all, a DSL is a specialized and problem-oriented language which serves to accurately describe a domain of knowledge. When we say domain of knowledge, maybe medicine, agriculture, something like that. Now, the interest to combine a DSL and a transformation function is to raise the abstraction level of software. The interest to combine a DSL and a transformation function, combining two things, combining the digital subscriber line with a transformation function. The basic reason is to raise the abstraction level of a software. Now, a DSL user concentrates his or her effort on domain description, while complexity, design, and implementation decisions and details are hidden. This digital subscriber line has something to do with domain. Since in the definition we say that it deals with a particular domain of knowledge, a particular domain of knowledge. So we should know that its focus will be on domains of knowledge. Now, however, what is the next consensus beyond this general definition? An experience consists in stating the development of a DSL editor coupled to a generator. Quickly, the issue of the variance of DSL editors and generators emerges. Regarding the language, it is a tree-based DSL or a set of data without restructure. Okay, is the question, is it a tree-based DSL or a set of data without restructure, or is it a graphical or textual notation, or is it a declarative or imperative style? While the introduction may look somehow complex for now, when we read further, we will know the answer to all those worries, those questions. The most important thing we have picked from the introduction is that the DSL is a specialized problem-oriented language. It's enough for you to remember problem-oriented language when you are dealing with digital subscriber line. It also means problem-oriented language, and it focuses on domain of knowledge. Don't forget that one. That is also important. It focuses on the domain of knowledge. In summary of the introduction, a DSL is a specialized problem-oriented language focused on the domain of knowledge. Then you have at least a bit of knowledge. At least when they say DSL outside, you'll not be thinking of DSL, okay. Digital means, subscriber means, line means. No, that would have been for a layman. But you that have gone through the material a bit now, you can say something reasonable about DSL. A specialized problem-oriented language that deals with the domain of knowledge. Full stop. So that is introduction. At the end of this lesson, we should be able to do some things. One is to define the term DSL. What is the real definition of DSL? We are to be able to describe the benefits of DSL, advantages it has and the disadvantages it has, and also explain how it works. It's as simple as that. So open your mind that you want to learn something new today. First of all, what is this DSL? Is it a computer room? Is it a picture? Is it an image? And then once you know what it is, how does it look? How does it operate? What does it do? Does it have benefit? Does it have disadvantages? That is what we want to scan tonight. And then once we're able to unfold all those hidden mysteries or truth about or fact about DSL, we will end the reading section. A DSL is a telephone loop technology. You know, an idea would have been given to us when we saw the full meaning of DSL as digital subscriber line. You already know that line can mean like all these your phone lines, your phone number. We also refer to it as line. And a subscriber is actually someone who is under a particular operator. For instance, if your phone number is MTN, you are a subscriber to MTN line. So even if you are looking at it from the layman aspect, you should be able to say something of that level about the full meaning of DSL, since the full meaning is digital subscriber line. So what is DSL? DSL is a telephone loop technology that uses existing copper phones lines and provides a dedicated high-speed internet connection. One of the big advantages of first of all, let's go through DSL again for better assimilation. It is a telephone loop technology that uses existing phones lines, existing copper phones lines, and provides a dedicated high-speed internet connection. So, if I didn't remember anything about DSL, I should know that DSL is a telephone loop. Let me just say telephone loop technology. And its work is that it provides high internet connection. If you remember only those 2 points about DSL, when you are asked what is DSL. So if I'm to answer this question now, this question one, in 2024 one, that say briefly explain DSL, I may start by saying that DSL stands for digital subscriber line, you understand, which is a specialized problem-oriented language basically used for domain of knowledge. Full stop. Then I may go further to say the DSL is a type of telephone loop technology that is used for high internet connection. I have my 4 marks. Briefly explain DSL. DSL stands for digital subscriber line, which is a form of a specialized problem-oriented language that deals with domain of knowledge, full stop. And then furthermore, DSL is a form of telephone loop technology that is used for high internet connection. I have done justice to question 1A. So if they will repeat question 1 of 2024 in this my current semester, I have 4 marks already from these 2 minutes of reading that we've done. So you just need to digest, understand it yourself. Now that what we are trying to say is that DSL stands for, the first thing is know the full meaning. Digital subscriber line is a type of specialized problem-oriented language that deals with domain of knowledge, and then it's a type of telephone loop technology that provides high internet connectivity. So I've done justice to DSL in terms of definition a bit. Now, one of the big advantages of some DSLs, notably the ADSL. So there's a type of DSL called ADSL. We'll still look for the full meaning later. Are that they can coexist on the same line with a traditional voice service, such as POTS, which is plain old telephone service. So POTS means plain old telephone service. What this means is that you know that there are some mobile phones now that when you are on call and your data is still on, data function will still be working, messages will still be coming in even while you're on call. I think this is one of the work of DSL, that high internet speed, this especially this particular one, ADSL, that they're trying to explain, that the advantage is that they can coexist with traditional voice service, which is your normal call, traditional voice service, such as POT. POT means plain old telephone service, plain old telephone service, and even ISDN. This is accomplished by utilizing different frequency ranges above the voice range. Voice is up to 4 kilohertz. That is the frequency of voice when it comes to connectivity and calls. Don't forget first advantage they've mentioned of some of the DSLs that we have is that they can coexist on the same line with traditional voice service, like POTS, plain old telephone service. They can coexist. That means they can be on the same line with a type of line that is used for voice services, voice calls. An example of voice calls services that we have is POTS, plain old telephone service. The frequency of voice is 4 kilohertz. Now, essentially, this gives two lines in one for voice and one for internet connectivity. Most of the SIMs that we use, the telephone lines we use of recent, in this our generation, they're all DSL enabled. Let me just say that because you use the same line for phone calls and also for internet connections. So I think from this definition now, we are now beginning to understand, we are now beginning to appreciate, we're now beginning to relate to what they are talking about. Because as of then, when we just say, oh, DSL, digital subscriber line, it was looking odd. Nothing was clear then. But now some pictures are being created because we are now relating into things we already know, things we are conversant with on daily basis. So we said essentially this gives two lines in one for voice and one for internet connectivity. Now, when all are working normally, there should be no interference between the two lines. This gives DSL a potentially broad consumer base and helps minimize costs for service providers. When all are working normally, that is, all things being equal, there should be no interference between the two lines. That means between the one for data connectivity and the one, for internet connectivity and voice services. Don't forget that frequency of voice that we have, 4 kilohertz. Very important. So this gives DSL a potentially broad consumer base and helps minimize cost for service providers. Now we're talking about advantage of some of the DSL we have, the ones that can coexist with voice services like POTS, plain old telephone service. So what is DSL? Briefly explain DSL. DSL is the abbreviation or the full meaning for, DSL is the acronym for the first word of digital subscriber line. That's the first thing I need to know. And secondly, it is a specialized problem oriented language that deals with domain of knowledge. Full stop. And then furthermore, to explain it, it is a type of telephone technology. It's a type of telephone loop technology, a type of telephone loop technology that does what? That uh, offers or provides high internet connection. So DSL works with internet connectivity. Is a type of phone loop technology. You may not even need to remember what was said in the introduction, but if the question is briefly explained, you may need to touch what they mentioned in the introduction about it being a form of problem-oriented language, specialized problem-oriented language, and that it deals with domain of knowledge. If it's explanation they ask you or briefly explain, but if it's just define DSL, you can say DSL is a type of telephone loop technology which deals with high internet connection. Then you've defined it. So let's move on. DSL is positioned for the home and small office. So I've said it earlier on, this field of ours is full of abbreviations. Goodness. They abbreviate a lot, small thing, abbreviation. So DSL is positioned for the home and small office, which we call SOHO. Okay. Or small office market that is looking for high speed internet access at reasonable prices. Since it also typically provides dedicated always on access, it can be used for interconnecting low to mid-range bandwidth servers and provides a great access solution for small local area networks. LANs means local area networks. It is also great for those Linux power users that just want a fat pipe. We're not talking about the uses of DSL. It is very good for small homes and small offices, or homes and small offices, SOHO markets, and then also good for connecting or interconnecting low to mid-range bandwidth. That means when the distance is not much, what you want to connect together when the distance is not that much. And of course, works with LAN. It's a great solution for local area networks. You know what local area network covers, just within a room, within a house. Just so, which means in coverage, it is limited. That is the whole thing we are saying now is, in summary, the DSL is limited in coverage. Now, phone companies and other independent telecommunications provider, clerks, God should help us with abbreviations in this course. So, okay, are now deploying DSL to stay ahead of the cable companies. The main consumer and sole competition for DSL providers What they are trying to say is that the cable companies are the main consumer, and also the home and small offices, they are the main consumers of DSL. That means the main users of DSL services. Now, this mad rush to get a piece of the pie is bringing competition, which is a good thing, which means there is a kind of competition between cable companies, which serves as the main consumer of DSL, and those small homes and those offices, small offices and small homes that are also interested in using it. A kind of competition has been created, and this competition is a good thing according to the material. Now, diversity and some confusion into the consumer market. Now, the DSL provider, often but not always, the phone company, they are the main DSL provider. Okay, we provide the DSL infrastructure. This would include your line, the DSLAM, and physical connection to the outside world. From there, it is typically picked up by the ISP, which is Internet Service Provider, who provides the traditional internet services. This paragraph 2 is talking about how it works. How it works. Paragraph 1 talks about the definition. This paragraph 2 is talking about how it works. They said the main figure here are the telephone companies that provide this DSL. But what they do is they provide the infrastructure, and the infrastructure they provide just include your line, the DSLAM, and physical connection to the outside world. But once you are outside, the connection is carried on by the internet service provider of that connection. Now, consumer DSL plans are typically best effort services, while boosting speed, approaching T1 and even surpassing that in some cases. It is not necessarily as reliable as Tier 1. However, business class DSL offers more reliability at a higher cost than consumer plans, and is a good compromise where both reliability and bandwidth are at a premium, all in one. The cost of DSL compared to traditional telco services such as T1 is attractive and substantially more affordable for home and small business users. Now, DSL providers often do not have service contract for home users, while business class DSL services typically do include similar SLAs, which is service level agreement, to that offered for a Tier 1 line. Now, the downside is that DSL is not available everywhere. We've been talking about the good side. You've seen several things like it offers special or premium services for business owners, which is different from the one that individuals use as the consumers. The individuals are referred to the consumers. We have business class, which offers more services, more reach, more availability, but at a higher cost. So that means it has consideration for businesses and also for just home users or small offices, the SOHO, if you remember. So we'll be talking about the good side, but there is one downside of it, which is a kind of disadvantage now. It is not everywhere. It is not available everywhere. Availability and available bit rate, which is speed, are purely a function of where you live, where the telco has installed the prerequisite hardware, how far you are from the DSLAM, the CO, and the quality of your phone line, the loop. Don't forget that it is a type of telephone loop technology. So that loop is important in the connectivity of DSL. So not all loops are created equal. Unfortunately, the primary limitation is distance. So if I'm asked now, what is the disadvantage of DSL? The disadvantage of DSL is that it is limited in reach. Or let me not use the word reach because it will mean another thing technically. It is limited in distance. It is not available, or just put it plainly so that you don't confuse yourself with the answer. It is not available everywhere. The advantage is that it is sound for small home users or for home users or small offices. It offers premium services for business owners, which is the business premium. So that's a good one. And of course, the it is affordable. That's another thing they've mentioned in the advantage. It is affordable to other types of uh, internet connectivities available. So in advantage, it offers different types of or different levels of services, like the one for the small offices or homes, the one for premium business owners, and then it's another advantage is we say that they do talk about the speed now. Now, affordability, it is affordable. But when we come to disadvantage, it is limited in reach, in distance, which means it is not available everywhere. How fast you are going to enjoy the speed or the services is dependent on how close you are to the physical infrastructure provided by the DSL provider. And I think we need to stop here. Tonight, we already know what DSL means. Initially, you may not know anything about DSL, but tonight, if you don't know anything else, you know that DSL is the acronym of the first word, digital subscriber line, and it is a type of specialized problem-oriented language which provides which serves some domain of knowledge, provide services, or which serves the domain of knowledge. That is from introduction. And then on the main definition, we said that it is a type of telephone loop technology, yes, that provides high internet connection. Advantages: it is affordable. It provides several levels of services like the small offices and the home, which is abbreviated as SOHO, and then it provides premium services to business owners, which is the business premium, and it is affordable. And then the speed is okay. But the disadvantage is that the type of speed you will enjoy depends on your proximity. That means how close you are to the infrastructure provided by the DSL provider. That's number one disadvantage. And the second disadvantage, which is the main disadvantage, is distance, which means it is not available everywhere. Having learned that tonight, if I was a student in 2024 first semester and I'm writing this exam tonight, I would have been able to answer question 1A, question 1B, question 1C, question 1D. And that is, when I look at it, that is 4, 4, 4, 12. That is 14 marks already from what we've done tonight. So if this question was to come back to us in this semester, we have 14 solid marks secured already. Because question 1, I can say that its DSL stands for digital subscriber line, which is a type of specialized problem-oriented language that deals with domain of knowledge, and also is a type of telephone loop technology that offers high internet connection. Ties under brief explanation. Enumerate 4 features of DSL the first feature of DSL is that some of the services like the ADSL, which deals with the telephone, what do you call it now? The I think ports, which is the plain old telephone service. You understand? What do we say about that one? About that plain old telephone service? There was something mentioned about it, but even if you don't want to mention that one, the other features we can talk about, like the DSL covers it has okay, features. We know that it offers high internet connectivity. It works with telephone loop, you understand? And then it has this connection with, it can coexist. That is another feature. It can coexist with the telephones, which is the voice services. It can coexist with the voice services, where we talk about the 4 kilohertz for the voice frequency. It can coexist. That is one thing. And it does not only coexist. Another feature is that it can maintain a strong connectivity, that even when there is a possibility of interference, it can curb the action of interference between the internet connectivity and the voice services. That's another feature we've talked about under it. And I haven't said that. I've mentioned like 4. So, briefly explain 2 advantages. The advantage, of course, it is affordable and it offers high internet speed. And it also has several packages, like the one for small offices or homes, which is SOHO, and it also has premium services for business owners, which is a good advantage because you can decide the type you want to subscribe to depending on your needs. Then, what are the disadvantages? They say mention 2 disadvantages. Well, the first disadvantage is that it is not everywhere. It's the issue of distance. And then the second one is that uh, it requires close proximity to the source of the physical infrastructure, which means if I'm living far from the place the physical hardware is installed by the provider, it means I won't be able to enjoy the service. That's a very bad one, which means if they install it in Garki, if I'm not living in maybe Gwangalada or a very far place, I will need to move my house to, no, that doesn't make sense. So that is a disadvantage. 2 disadvantages: the closer the proximity, the higher the enjoyment, the speed. But the farther, then the slower or even disconnection. While distance is also another one, which means it is not everywhere. And I've solved that. So maybe when we read further in the next marathon class, we'll be able to answer the remaining questions. And I think we've done justice tonight. In fact, at least I know what DSL means now and some other things about DSL. So we just need to go further in the next class. And I believe we've done quite a lot tonight. Mommy Gio is still here. Thank you so much. You are really the motivation behind this class. Yes, it depends on where you are, where you live. So thank you. Well, I think we have 2 people online. The 2 of you online, thank you for joining. Thank you for staying to this time. And we have done justice to DSL tonight. We move to another course on Monday. I've decided that Saturday, Sunday, we'll use that to rest. Then we'll start our reading Monday to Friday. So from Monday, we'll go to another course. Same time. Do have a wonderful night rest. And of course, enjoy your weekend. Thank you. Good night.